The Greens-led Senate Committee into Supermarket Pricing handed down its final report late yesterday afternoon. Key recommendations included making price gouging illegal, introducing divestiture laws to create powers that could break up Coles and Woolworths, and creating a new group to monitor prices and competition. Let's bring in here Fred Harrison, the Chief Executive of Australia's largest independent supermarket chain, Ritchies. Fred, thanks for your time. First up, you appeared at the inquiry yourself. How did that go for you? I know you talked a bit about property and the power that Coles and Woolworths have over the whole property sector in Australia.
Yes, no, I was given a very positive hearing. I was asked a number of questions, and I was able to make the point that we really have a situation where the chains are just lining the streets, dominating new sites, and the best thing we can do is to introduce more competition and more variety and more choice, and that is by having more supermarkets, including people like Ritchies and other independents, occupy some of these potential future locations.
One thing from the final report said the Food and Grocery Code of Conduct should be mandatory. Is that a good idea?
Yes, look, I think it's a positive. I think the major players have accepted that, but I'm not sure it's going to necessarily help the consumer. I think one of the great recommendations the committee made was to recommend the reverse, the onus of proof of dominant companies. That to me is the key. If we can reverse that onus of proof on dominant companies, and instead of the ACCC having to prove that there's going to be a lessening of competition, put the onus back on the chains to prove that there won't be a weakening of competition. And I think that's a key recommendation that we are very much hoping for to be adopted by the level of government.
Yeah, and as the head of Australia's biggest independent supermarket chain, how often do you talk to the ACCC around the supermarket sector and pricing?
Oh, look, of late, there's been more communication. It's not something that's a regular conversation. They will often ask our opinion on certain matters and items. So there'd be regular commentary and discussion over the course of the year.
And looking at the stuff on supermarket shelves at the moment, we've heard a few weeks ago Coles and Woolworths suggesting there's signs of deflation. Are things getting cheaper?
Oh, look, I think everyone would love you to say yes, it is. But one thing we are seeing, and I think it is a great step in the right direction, and that is people are now buying more and more promotions. So the deep cut activity, whether it be 30, 40, 50% off, we're seeing a significant increase in our sales on promotion, which means there is deflation. People are buying more on special, so it's actually costing them less at the checkout by purchasing more of those promoted lines. So look, it's we're also seeing less and less price increases coming through compared to, say, 12 months ago. So I think there's some good steps in the right direction for the future.
And are there certain categories at the supermarket that are coming down in price quicker than others?
Oh, look, when it comes to fresh fruit and vegetables, they have the ability to change almost daily, and you'll get some prices that jump. At the moment, tomatoes are very expensive, but we're seeing other produce items starting to come back. So fruit and vegetable is probably most indicative of what's happening in the marketplace, because there's a change almost daily in produce to pricing, depending on supply and demand. But we certainly are seeing snack foods, soft drinks, foods generally, we're seeing those prices start to stabilise. Meats become far more stable. So it's really across the board. We're seeing some big increases coming through in chocolate, and that's basically because of the world shortage of cocoa, what's gone wrong with in North Africa. So we're going to see some big increases in chocolate in the next 3 to 6 months. That may not be good news.
No, that doesn't sound good news to me. But the final report yesterday, it also called for divestiture powers that could potentially break up Woolworths and Coles. Is this reaching a bit far?
Look, I think it is. And I think that creates a lot of uncertainty in the business community. To me, I think the best step forward is how do we set up for the future? How do we set up for the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years? And the recommendation by the committee to reverse the onus of proof, to me, that is the number one takeout ourselves, and I think that would be good for Australians because that's going to stop supermarkets just dominating strips centres. And we're seeing it now. You drive through towns and there's chain after chain. We need more independence. We need more Aldi's. We need more competition. And the Milton example, which is one I did speak of strongly to the Senate committee, that's a terrible example. You've got today, or a year ago, we had 2 Coles, 2 Woolies, and one of the best independent IGA retailers in the country operating in a shopping centre in Milton. The independent retailer tried to renew his lease. He was told that the shopping centre had sold to Coles. Yep. Coles now are going to come in and take over that store.
Fred,
we're going from 3 competitors back to 2. No good.
Fred, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on the show.